time today. Glad to have this coaching conversation. How are you doing right now?
I'm doing well. I could do with a bit more sleep, but generally doing well.
Great, great. So, what would be most helpful for you to focus on during this coaching demonstration together?
Tom, one thing I want to work on is being more attentive to the emotional needs of my colleagues.
Okay. So, say a bit more about more attentive. What does that mean for you?
Yeah, so I think I can be quite task orientated in my approach to ministry life and so on. And it can mean that I miss moments where actually something significant is going on in the life of a colleague, um, or I don't pay too enough attention to how they're doing if they are not on the scene for some reason. I'm just
Mm,
aware of that I just get so focused on getting the business done that I'm not thinking about the whole person. I'd love to be better at doing that. Does
mm.
that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. What makes that particularly important right now in your life and ministry?
Yeah, I think I'm just aware of how much it matters how people are actually doing personally for their flourishing, not only in their role but in life. But in terms of people's longevity in their role as well, it just really matters that they're flourishing personally and that they feel cared for.
Mm.
And I feel that that can sometimes be an area of neglect in my own ministry.
Yeah. So I'm hearing kind of the whole human thriving idea and even sustainability in the
Yeah,
role. Yeah.
very much so.
Okay. So at the end of our short time, what would be a result that you would want to take away from here?
I think I'd like to have specific strategies for making sure that I don't forget. I don't think it's that I have no idea that this is a good thing. I don't think it's a kind of lack of, emotional intelligence, but it is a lack of strategies that I need to make sure I don't forget this. Some people would just do it intuitively all the time, but I'm probably not one of those people. So I need specific strategies to help me to not forget and to make it a deliberate practice.
Okay. So ways to keep that in front of you so that it becomes part, yeah, of your workflow. Yeah. So I look forward to exploring that with you together. Um, what part of that do you think we need to explore first as we look into that topic?
Hmm. Huh, that's great. Perhaps the area I'm most weak in is um, communicating with people when they are um, either unwell or under particular stress, which is keeping them off my immediate point of view. So, what I mean by that is if someone's in front of me and we're having conversations, I think probably then I'm quite good at picking up what they need. So, where is the specific problem? Actually, it's not general, it's specifically when someone is off sick, am I still staying in touch with them? Or do they feel I only really mattered to them while they were doing lots of work? Or if someone has a particular moment of stress in their life, do they feel like I'm attentive to their needs, even when they're able to do less of what might be business as usual? Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a really helpful question, actually. It's more about how do I relate to those who, for whatever reason, are are not able to engage in the normal sort of processes where I would see them and be able to ask them the questions and respond to them.
So, what might be ways that you could? I mean, it sounds a bit like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah,
What
exactly. I
would?
mean, yeah, that hits the nail on the head, actually. And I guess when you put it like that, it's almost like, do I just need to have a point in my day or week when I actually just look through a list of all the people who are, if you like, under my care or my direct reports, whatever, and just ask myself the question, what do they need today? And I guess that could be a way of just creating some intentional, deliberate, focused space where I'm able to go through each person, and just, it wouldn't even have to be long, but just have a moment where I'm saying, how could I bless this person today? Which is slightly disconnected from just what are they doing, or what do they need to deliver. Yeah, that's quite a helpful thought, and it probably wouldn't even need to be a daily thing. I think, even to be honest, even a weekly or monthly thing like that would feel like it would be a step in the right direction. I feel like I'm answering my own questions here.
It's great if you are, because you have more ideas about what works for your situation than I do. So
yeah, yeah. I think that could be a real way forward, and quite a simple one as well. That actually, could I create an opportunity, maybe first thing in the morning on a particular day where it's slightly less pressured, to say, before, for example, our staff prayer. So I might have half an hour, a little bit of time before we have a kind of corporate activity together that morning, where I just look through each of my direct reports and just ask the question, how could I bless them today? And then I could turn that into something I either do there and then, or create an action so that I don't forget it. That might be a way of dealing with part of what I'm feeling.
to pivot just a bit on a level of beliefs or values, is there what might be in there that would keep you from kind of keeping those people in front of you on a regular basis, even if they're out of sight?
Yeah, I think what could keep me from caring, I think it probably is um uh just being overly focused on outcomes and not focused enough on people. So in a sense, when you put it like that, I guess there's a spiritual dimension to it as well. Actually, to what extent am I seeking to love my neighbors, and love those who the Lord has given me particular responsibility for, to use another language, sort of shepherd the flock under my care. And actually, yeah, perhaps there's something about meditating a bit more on what it actually means to be a line manager. And clearly there are certain outcomes, and there's a particular role and set of responsibilities that come with that. But maybe it's helpful to frame it in that way in my particular case.
So you said you wanted to work on ways to stay connected when those who are direct reports are kind of out of sight, ill, away, whatever. Are we on track for where you wanted to head in terms of finding some strategies?
Yeah, I think we are. I think we're moving towards a kind of concrete outcome that I can understand, is tangible, that I could do. But I think also we've talked a little bit about motives and yeah, the spiritual dimension, which because the truth is there are lots of tasks that I don't get done each week. So actually it's quite helpful thinking about that spiritual dimension, because actually that's going to provide some motivation for me to actually want to lean into this and take it seriously, as opposed to it just being another thing that just gets left on a task list. So it feels like it's been really helpful.
Are there other angles that you would want to explore before we kind of look at more concrete action steps?
I can't think of any off the top of my head, I can't think of any right now.
Okay.
Maybe I need to say, um, actually, this is an area where I do feel a burden of responsibility and a sense that I'm maybe failing in ways that just I find hard. So it's not just a theoretical thing for me. I really feel this matters, and I think I have a sense that there are times when I've let people down in the past, and I'd like to avoid doing that again.
Hmm. Wow. Failing is a strong term. Yeah. So it sounds like there's some impact even on how you're seeing what leadership might involve. You brought in the shepherd idea as well.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
there's definitely times, and I mean, I've been a pastor a long time as well. I think there's definitely been times where I think I can look back and think I've failed that person in a way that, not just about them getting tasks done, but maybe hasn't helped their discipleship, their commitment to Christ, their even desire to be in Christian ministry. And those are really important things. And so yeah, so for me, as I say, this isn't just a theoretical tick box thing. It's
Hmm.
about, how do I play my part in the bigger picture of someone's spiritual journey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can hear it's really important for you. So, how could you turn some of that awareness into some concrete action steps before the next time we have a chance to meet?
Yeah, I think identify a specific time that I'm going to do some of the things that we talked about, specifically, set aside a specific morning where I'm able to go through people on a list, my direct reports, and ask that question, how can I be a blessing to them? So identify a specific time. Try and timetable that in. So not just identify the time, timetable it into the diary so it's there, and doesn't get blocked out by other things. I think one thing that you've helped me to think is actually, how do I incorporate a spiritual dimension to that? One thing I could do is try and write a prayer. Now, this may be too much, but try and write a prayer that actually encapsulates some of the spiritual things that I've been talking about, that encapsulates, my desire to help people grow in their relationship with God and know that they're part of a community that loves them. Um, I'm not their pastor, but yet we are Christians together who have a role in
Mhm.
supporting one another. So this is for myself, not for them, that just helps me be in the right space as I approach that moment.
So you said finding a time when you could do it, timetabling it to get it in. And
Yeah.
then on your third one, you talked about maybe trying to write. Is that something you want to do, or is that something you want to reflect on for maybe the next time?
No, I'd love to do it. It would be good. And actually, it's something that I do enjoy doing, kind of writing prayers. So yeah, just popped into my mind as a specific thing that would feel like I could do that, would be a blessing to me, but then would help me in an ongoing way. So yes, I want to turn that into a third thing that I want to do.
Okay. And you feel those three are doable, measurable for you?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. If we had more time, we'd make those a bit more specific. But taking a step back from the conversation, what's kind of a takeaway, something, a new realization, something you learned from this time that you want to kind of solidify before we finish?
Well, one of the things that's been encouraging is thinking that this is quite a small step that we've been talking about, but it feels like it could be quite transformative. And
Mm,
so just the encouragement for me is that, sometimes a small thing, I think the problem in my mind felt so big, but actually it feels like just by talking it through, it's become a much more manageable issue.
yeah.
So I'm really grateful for that. And I think it's also been helpful to see that this is, again, not just an operational thing, but it's a spiritual thing. And
Mm,
so to put it in that frame has been helpful for me.
excellent. Well, I'll pray for those three action items and look forward to maybe touching base at some point to see how you got along. So Thanks a lot, Jason.
Thank you.